All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome. We are live. We are going to pick up where we left off on the stream last week. And I did not actually have a chance to get too much done offline. So it is literally going to be, I think, almost exactly where we left off last week. So we're going to get into that. But before we do, I do want to just take a quick second to thank the supporters of the channel, starting with our elite partner, Javier Lazaran, followed by our partners, Goboli's Inc. and Matt Oscard. Those are the highest tiers of subscription over on YouTube memberships and Patreon, followed by the list of supporters you see here on the screen. They are a combination of the other tiers of support over on YouTube memberships, Patreon, as well as Twitch subscriptions. So thank you all very much for that support. It means a great deal to me, and it helps me cover the costs associated with running the channel. Things like software licenses, hosting fees, eventually assets, things of that nature. So here where we're jumping into the game, that's really going to start to add up kind of quickly here in the near future. So thank you all for that. And of course, I would be in error if I did not extend a large thank you to all of you guys, the viewers, whether you're joining us live on the YouTube side or the Twitch side. We do simulcast to both. Thank you guys so much for being here, because without you guys, this channel and this project would not exist. So I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you guys very much for being here. Okay. So, where we left off last time was with our texture browser, and we've got some things to figure out as far as that goes, but I want to get a little bit more in terms of functionality in tonight. So, I guess just as a quick reminder of that, let's go ahead and actually just kind of crank this up real quick and have a look. All right, so this is what we left off with on the last stream. So we've got sort of the ability to select different textures here and view their metadata and so forth and so on. Things like we didn't have the texture type in there. That's probably something I need to fix. But format information, the size can vary, a better preview of the texture, things along those lines. I do have some issues I need to sort out with the aspect ratio and maintaining the aspect ratio when it comes to the preview over here, but that's something that we can certainly fix in the future. So what I want to focus on tonight with this texture browser is I want to have the ability to first open and close the window. So our texture browser here, this button should be able to open and close this texture browser. And then we also need to implement our texture browser modes so that we can actually have just sort of a simple browse mode with maybe just a close button up here and an OK button or something like that, and maybe an import button, and then also a picker where we can use it to select a particular texture and toss that information back to whatever called it. So that is... I'm hoping to at least get one of those things in place tonight. Singy over on YouTube, how's it going? Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Okay, so I think probably opening and closing the texture browser is going to be first, because we really need a way to bat that out of the way. We kind of have it open here by default, but I think we're at the point where we kind of need to dispense with that. So I think that's the first thing I'm going to do is start off the texture browser in closed mode, and then we'll have the texture button open or close it. So the way that I think I'm going to do that is I'm going to come up here to the top of, let's see, actually I don't want that. Let's come up here and let's see, we have some texture browser stuff here. So we have our texture browser refresh already there. So we're going to have a static void text browser open, and that's just going to take the editor state for now. Eventually we're going to have probably a texture browser state that's going to exist within the editor state, but we'll pass that instead of the entire editor state at some point, and we'll kind of split this code out. But at least for right now, I'm not going to worry about that too much. So we have open, and then we have close. And I guess probably what we should probably have some sort of tracker to say whether it's open or not. And then I suppose we could have a toggle Maybe that makes sense. No, I don't think I want to toggle. I think we just want open, right? And so when we talk about opening, we said that we have two different modes that we want to open it. And so I guess we should probably have open for browsing. And then we'll have open for selection. Okay? And the way that the open for selection is going to work, and I'm going to keep this here, is we're going to type def a function that is going to return a k-texture. And we're going to say that that is pfn text browser selected. Almost type ballcack again. Callback. And let's see. We probably ought to do. Oh wait, we don't need that to return the texture. We need that to be void. We need the texture to be passed here. So we have k-texture, texture, and then we'll have a void context, and then we'll have a. Actually, I guess that's probably it. I don't think we need anything other than just the context. So the context is just some sort of user data that can be passed along with the callback when it is supplied. So when we do open for selection, we're going to want to supply that callback. So we're going to have in here, let's do void, context, and then we'll do pfn text browser selected callback. And essentially what that's going to be is actually this should probably be selected callback. And this callback will be made if a selection occurs. We should probably also have pfn text browser canceled callback. And that is just going to pass along the void context. So that way we have some way to notify if it's been canceled, the selection's been canceled. So we'll have pfn text browser canceled callback. Cancel callback, right? And so basically the idea is that if we open it for browsing only, then we're not expecting any sort of output from that dialog box, if you will. But if we open it for selection, then we are. And whenever we do that, we'll obviously store these callbacks appropriately. So what I want to do is take these guys, and we're going to head over to the editor state. And right where we're kind of putting all the other texture browser stuff, we're going to put, let's see, I guess we'll put that stuff here. So we will do, instead of just context here, we're going to say texture, I guess we could say text browser. Text browser context. That's good enough. And then we have the selected callback, which we need to move that type def to actually show up here. So let me go grab those real quick. Those belong in the header file anyway. So those have got to go all the way up here. We'll put that there. And when we separate out this texture browser, we will make sure that these things are placed accordingly, right? So how do we determine whether or not the texture browser is actually open? We're we could do the naive thing and just put a Boolean where we say texture browser open, true or false. That's the easiest way to do it. However, I actually think that I think the flags option is probably a better option. And just have it stored as a flag, because we're going to have a couple of things in terms of flags when it comes to the texture browser. So let's do a type def enum, and we're going to do a let's do texture browser flag bits. All right, so texture browser flag bits, and the first one is going to be texture browser flag none. Simple enough. But then we're going to have one for open bit, right? And this is going to be 1 shifted by 0. And then we'll have another one here where we'll have another flag that is, I guess we'll say selection bit, selecting. And we'll shift that by 1. All right, so this will give us obviously 0, and then this will give us 1, and then this will give us 2. So we can have that, and for now that's all the flags that we're actually going to have, but chances are we're going to be adding more. So we'll have another type def here, type def, and we'll do a U32, and we'll do texture, God, I can't type tonight, browser flags. Okay, and that'll be the bitwise collection of these flags here. So now in editor states, we can have, and I probably got to put this, let's just texture browser. Okay, let's put this. I guess I could put it up here. Nah, I think I'm going to put it down here. Let's put it down here. We'll do a texture browser flags. Text browser flags. Okay. And so what we're going to get is when we do this open for browsing or open for selection, or let's see, close. Yeah, let's actually take all 3 of these signatures, and we'll go down here and we'll paste them here. So what we're going to get is we're essentially going to set the flags differently depending on which one of these we call. So we're going to do states. Actually, the first thing we probably have to do is check to make sure it's not already open, right? Because if it is, then we need to either warn about it or maybe switch modes. I don't know that I want to necessarily support that right away. I think we should only be opening the texture browser once. So what we can do is we can say if flag get, and we'll say state text browser flags. Wait, didn't I have it? Text browser flags. If text browser flag open bit is set, then we're just going to return, right? And maybe we can do a warning saying the texture browser is already open. Okay. And if that is not the case, then we can say, first off, we'll just do state text browser flags. And we're just going to do equals texture browser flag none, right? So we're gonna reset it completely just to make sure that it's all good, and then we'll do a flag set, and this will be states text browser flags, and the flag that we want to set is the text browser flag open bit, and we want to set that to true. So that will mark it as open. And then we can go ahead and actually open the texture browser. So what does opening the texture browser mean? Essentially, it will mean activate the text browser background panel, right? So we want to activate that, and we want to say activate/set visible, right? And we're going to want to do that for both of these things, no matter which mode we're currently dealing with here. So we're going to bump this out to a quick function here that just does that for us, so we're not repeating ourselves. We're just going to do text browser open, and we'll do internal. And editor states, editor states. Okay, and we'll take this, put that there, and we'll just do here, text browser open internal state, right? Okay, so we've got that. So now we need to just do, KUI control set is visible. So that's the first thing we'll do, is we'll say state Kohi state, because that's the UI state. The control is going to be state, and we want text browser background panel, and we want is visible to be true. And we're going to do the same thing for active, except I'm actually going to do active first, and then visible, right? And then I think as far as close goes, I don't see us needing to have more than one entry point for that. So I think I'm just going to do all of this same logic here, just the opposite, obviously. Now, one other thing we need to do when we open the texture browser is we need to do a refresh. So we need to say text browser refresh state. Whenever we open it, we want to make sure that that's completely refreshed. Okay, so that's going to do it for open for browsing. Open for selection is going to be a little bit different. And actually, we are going to be adding some things to this open internal based off of these modes. So if it's already open, bleat about it, move on. We are going to set the open flag, but we're also going to set the selection flag there. And then we're going to open that, right? And then here, we're basically going to have, a branch. So if flag get rather. So states text browser flags, text browser. So if we're in selection mode, show, actually we'll do to do, show additional selection controls, i.e. OK, cancel, buttons. Maybe a label at the top of the window, right? And then otherwise, to do ensure selection only controls are not shown. So we'll figure out what those are. But at least for now, we've got scaffolded what we need. So when it comes to clicking the button, the text browser button, we are going to always have that be open for browsing. So I don't recall, did I actually set up, I don't think I actually set up a click event for that. So in initialize, when we are setting up the well, let's see, actually, that's probably going to be, that's going to be more towards the top than it's going to be down here. What's the scene inspector? Main window, here we go. So save button. Here we go. Oh, I did set it. Texture browser button clicked. Okay. Let's actually take that and put it down here with some of these other ones. All right. So texture browser button clicked. Okay. So let's see. Why were we checking the mode here? I don't think this doesn't actually matter. Because I don't think, yeah, this doesn't actually matter. All we actually need here is we need the oh, I'm behind on some chat. I was zoned in there. Apotham, thank you so much for the tier 1 sub. 14 months. I really appreciate that support. Thank you so much. That means a lot. Dr. Elliott, good to see you as well. How have you been? Are you the same guy in your profile picture? Where'd the beard come from? Yes, I am the same guy. I really need to get a new profile picture. I haven't taken like any sort of professional pictures in a very long time. That picture is actually from my wedding 13 years ago. So yeah, I didn't have a beard back then. I do now. I need to update that at some point. I keep forgetting. Probably what I ought to have is some sort of maybe like stylized avatar or something, because I don't know if I want to put this in high definition anywhere, to be completely honest. It's bad enough you guys have to look at me down here in the corner of the screen, but I don't know that I want to put this, high definition anywhere. From Lake, good to see you over there on the YouTube side. How have you been? I'm early. Yeah, I did get a little bit of an early start tonight, but, well, I mean, not really. Actually, I think I started just before 9. So we've been going 25 minutes and it's 9:21, so yeah. Not really too early. Okay, so browser button clicked. So all we need to do here is we just need to do open for browsing past the state. However, that's edit state rather. However, this is not necessarily what we always want to do, because we only really want to do this if it's not open. So we're going to do is open flag get. And we're going to do edit state text browser flags text browser flag open bit. And if it's open already, we're going to close it. Otherwise, we're going to open it, right? So here we'll just do text browser close edit state. Boom. And that should be sufficient for us to at least test opening and closing it. So let's go ahead and build this and see where we wind up. Okay. Started at 0200. Normally you start at 0300 my time. Oh, you know what? From like where you are, do you do daylight savings time? Because that did change here. So let's see, we moved an hour forward in my time zone. So yeah, it might actually be early for you if you don't do daylight savings time. Which is stupid. I think they ought to abolish it. I hate it, but here we are. Oh, you know what? I did not default this state to off, so I should probably actually do that first before I do any of the other stuff. So let me go here. Let's see. So texture browser. We're going to set all the things up, but we're going to turn off. And I think I did this for... Yeah, we've done this elsewhere. Okay, I just want to make sure I was doing it consistently. Oops. So for the main window itself, we want to just do text browser BG panel. And we want to set the initial active and visible state to false. And then, let's see, did we actually have... We actually had... Oh, you know what? We had this hooked up in a couple places. This should be done when the texture browser opens. Okay, so that hack can go away. We don't want to do that unless it's actually opened. Do we have it anywhere else? Looks like just the searches. I thought we were also doing it. Were we not doing it on resize? I guess not, which is fine by now, for now. We can always add it. Just wanted to get rid of that initial refresh. '21st of March is daylight savings here. Oh yeah, okay. So it's just I love the fact that like some places do it, some places don't, and then the dates aren't consistent either as to when it falls into place worldwide. Like you would think by now we would have standardized this at least, but like I said, I think it's stupid. I think it should be abolished everywhere, but what are you going to do? All right, so here is the texture browser open. Texture browser close. Open again. Okay. Oh, you know what? Did we, when we do the close, open internal, open for browsing. When we do close, I do set these to false. Oh, but I didn't set the flag. So it still thinks it's open. Technically, I could check the visible state or the active state, right? But I think it's a little bit better to have a flag, because there may be reasons we want to adjust those states independently at some point. All right, so texture browser open, closed, open, closed. Cool. Okay, so now we can open and close that on demand, which is sweet. So I kind of feel like we should maybe have something in the texture browser like window title that states whether or not we are in selection mode. So maybe we have it say, maybe we'll have it say browse textures if we're in regular browsing mode. And if we open it for selection, we'll say select texture. I think that makes sense. So Here we go. I guess the default for this then is I'll just do, whoops, browse textures, right? And I'm actually just going to copy paste this for a second and go to text browser open internal. So this is one of those things that's going to change, right? So if we are selecting, then we want to do KY label control set text, I think it was called. What is it? Text set. Oh, KUI label text set. That's not consistently named. I should probably fix that at some point. All right. Not going to do it now, though, because that's going to explode the change. All right. So let's see. Actually, I need this first. Then that. Let's see, we want state, Kohi state there. And then I think all that it requires is the control and then the text. So the rest of this. Okay. So this is what we want if we are only in selection mode, or we are only in browsing mode. If we are selecting, we're going to say select a texture is going to be that. Okay. Now we have this texture browser button clicked. And we're going to execute something very similar in texture browser image. Oh, wait, no. This is going to be, did we put something in here for the material selection? I don't know that we did. Let's see, checkbox. I don't think so. Okay, so let's double check. Let's see, so that's going to be terrain material listing. On click texture browser. Here we go. We had a to do even in here for it. Perfect. Okay, so let's go back to the top actually. And we actually want an on-click for this. So I'm going to do a, let's see, we have painting, elevation, terrain. We don't really have a section for this yet. So I guess I'm just going to do, I guess I'm going to put it here. So this is going to be HFT. And we'll do a material image box clicked. Yeah, that makes sense. Let's see. Right, so we want to do a KUI control set on click. We have the Kohi states. We have the self, which is going to be the states HFT general material albedo image boxes sub-I. And then, let's see, the callback is just going to be, oops. Wow. Somehow copied the wrong thing. Cool. That. All right. So when we do that, we're going to also want that for the normal and the MRA. Okay. And what we're going to do here is, whoops, I don't want that. I want this. I want to go here, and we will go ahead and implement this here. But I'm going to take the contents. Actually, no, I'm not. Take that back. So essentially, let's figure out, like, what do we want to do when we click this, right? So the first thing we're going to want to do is open the texture browser. In select mode, passing along a callback with enough context data to set the texture of the provided image box to the selected texture if a selection is made. Okay. So we do that, and then in the callback, the image will need to be set in the terrain material listing as well, and loaded into the array texture on the appropriate layer. We will also need a bit more information. So note that a texture size matching the other terrain materials texture sizes is required because we use array textures, right? So there's that. And then we'll also have to make sure that the terrain painting mode editor gets the update. All right, so that's quite a few things we have to do, right? For now, I'm just going to worry about this first piece, and then we'll kind of move on to the other steps as necessary. So we'll go ahead and split those out. All right, let me catch up on chat just for a second here. Tired of setting up Vulkan, considering this is my third time in 3 different languages over the past year. I'm over how verbose it is. Yeah, I can understand that. I've done it way more times than that, but yeah, so I definitely get it. Because I've been messing with Vulkan since it came out. So Sturdy Pose, how's it going? First time chatter, welcome. Growing up is realizing that OpenGL is more than enough. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, to be honest, there are days where I just kind of wish I had gone that route because I'd be a lot further. But I also learned a hell of a lot about a lot of different things using Vulkan, so it's kind of a double-edged thing. But which IDE is this? I love the colors. This is NeoVim with my own custom theme. So what I will give to you is a link. Let me see if the bot is actually working today. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. It's not looking likely. Okay. So if you go here, I've actually written up a article on my complete NeoVim setup, including even some terminal stuff. But all the plugins I use, theming, all that kind of stuff. I'll put it over here on the YouTube side as well. How do you make a custom theme? It's a pain. I basically took one that existed and modified it to my liking. So yeah, I did it the hard way, complete with, inspecting the individual nodes. 1 month left for Game Engine Architecture, very chill day. Yeah, yep, that is coming out soon. I've ordered it, so we'll see. Hopefully it ships to me rather fast, because I am going to actually have some time where I'm not going to be able to program, so that's going to be good to have that book, actually. As long as it shows up before I have my surgery. Never realized that daylight savings time was worldwide, not the same date. Nope, it's not. It's really dumb. There are also PDF and Kindle versions. I can't, so maybe this makes me a bit of a boomer, but I can't read a book that way. I've never been able to. Like, I can look at code on the screen all day long, it's fine. But if I have to read something like that long, it's got to be on paper for me. That has changed a lot. Like I know how this is going to sound. When I was younger, it wasn't as huge of an effect, but as I'm getting older, it's actually a lot easier for me to read it on paper. I don't know why. It's just for books. Like code, I mean, I have this font blown up, but this is actually the font size I use normally because, I wear these Coke bottle lenses. Because I'm a blind old bat, but yeah, I wish I could go that route, but I can't. I've tried it and it doesn't work for me. Of course, especially if you want to be GPU employable, then recruiters are only looking for Vulkan. Yeah, or I suppose Metal, sparingly. Or really DirectX, Direct3D 12 is going to be the big one there too. Lua Wen, not going to happen. That's how I did it too. Best to just fork one that's close and have fun. Yeah, that's exactly what I did. So this is a fork of Adwaita, and the scheme that I used to use was also Adwaita by the same guy, but he changed it for some reason to like a completely different look and feel, and I couldn't stand it, so I forked basically his repo and edited the colors back to what they used to be, but for the new tree sitter way of doing things. So it was kind of a pain in the butt, but I'm glad I did it. Okay, so let's see. I could read PDFs. I don't feel like I retained it as well as off a page. Yeah, exactly. And the same thing goes for me, by the way, when writing notes. Like I keep notebooks around with notes in them, because I found that like handwriting stuff tends to help it stick in my brain better. Old school, but sometimes low tech is best, right? Eye strain factor likely, yes, 100%. And that's something I've learned to pay attention to more later on in life, especially like getting the blue light filter on my glasses and stuff. Because if you're going to be in front of the computer, you need to like pay attention to that stuff so that you don't damage your eyes. Read dozens of books I've forgotten on my Nook, but I remember most of the paper books. Yeah, I'm the same way. Like that's why I have the hard copies of the books behind me. Prefer my books in dead tree format. Yeah, exactly. 100%. I've got a notepad next to my bed for that same reason. Yeah, Yeah, I mean, the only time that I'll take notes digitally these days is like if I wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and I think of something like, oh, I need to go try this to fix that collision issue or something. Then I'll type a quick note to myself on the phone, but then I'll get that in the morning and write it down on paper. Dr. Elliot, what's the surprise Pikachu face for? Faultier Pine, first time chatter. Welcome. That's a good one. Someone called my office today and was looking for the IT guy. I told him he ransomware. Solid. I'm going to give that an 8. That's a good one. I appreciate a good dad joke. Had to get reading glasses because I was getting ruptured blood vessels in my left eye from eye strain. Holy crap, dude. That's a thing? Sergeant Pepper, that's crazy, my dude. I guess I really ought to be careful, right? Especially during allergy season. Yeah, that's intense. That is intense. Learn C++ in a month from 0 does not seem hard to me. I'm guessing you probably haven't done much advanced C++ and or hit any significant like memory issues or memory management issues in a large scale project yet. Because trust me, there are many foot guns in C++ and C2, to be fair. So you might not have just hit it yet. But yeah, it doesn't take that long to kind of get the basics of it for sure. To become a pro at it, it takes years, I would say. Years of constant use. I was also learning C++ at the time, so it could have been the C++, no way to tell. Yeah, I mean, C++ does give you eye damage because, you know, you don't see sharp. This happened once since I got my glasses, but I really had really bad sleep that day. Yeah, I get that. Strostrip says, do not write complex code. I mean, simple is best. I mean, he's not wrong, right? But try writing a game engine without having any complex code. You know, it's not always necessarily feasible. But you try to avoid complexity wherever you can. We try to do things here as simply as possible. Magetz, are you staring because of the dad joke? All right. So we need to have, I guess we'll do a texture browser open for selection. We need the UI states. So we're going to get the editor from the user data control. And that's just going to be editor. And then we need to pick a context and then fill out our callbacks, right? So what are we going to need in order to essentially make this texture selection work, right? So essentially the way this works is when we pull open the material editor, right, for the terrain, we click on an image box. We say we want to select a new texture for this particular slot. That opens up the texture browser in selection mode. That needs to say, okay, I've selected this texture, so that automatically gets passed in the callback. But we also need to know the control that this went back to. Potentially even the material that this went back to, the terrain material, so that we can update that. And let's see. That might actually be it for now. So I think what I'm going to do I think I'm still going to set up a structure, and we're still going to use dynamically allocated memory for now. And if it's something that we can handle differently later, then we'll do that. So for now, I'm just going to put this right here. We're obviously going to move this, type def struct, and we're going to call this, let's do text browser, no, HFT text browser context. All right, and in here, we're going to pass the control. So actually, we're going to say this is the image box. And what else did we say what we wanted to pass? We probably actually ought to pass the editor state, because depending on where we wind up in code, we may not have that. So we'll pass that along as well. If I can type. And then what else did I say? Potentially the material information. I'm going to hold off on that for now. We're just going to worry about the image box update for now. So what we're going to do is we're going to say HFT text browser context. And we're going to do, I guess we could just call this context. That's fine. And we're going to do kalloc type. And the type is going to be HFT text browser context with a memory tag editor. Right? And so now we're going to pass that context. And then we need to set up the callbacks, right? And we do need both. So can we actually go... Let's grab these two. And I'm also going to put these right here. More than likely, we're going to move these. But for now, let's see. We're going to rename these to HFT text browser selected callback and cancel callback. All right, and so in here, the context is going to be this. Right, so we're going to call this typed context equals context, and that's going to be true for both of these guys. And then we also want to do a k-free type. So that's going to be context. The type is going to be HFT text browser context, and then mem tag editor. And we do that in both places. So that way we don't leak that memory, right? And then this is going to be HFT text browser selected callback. And then this will be HFT text browser canceled callback. And more than likely, we're not going to actually have to do much of anything with the canceled callback, but you know, we want to have that there in case, just in case. All right. So for this guy, when we have selected, we're going to do, we're going to have to use the typed context to actually get the UI control itself. And I think we have, do we actually have a, I suppose I could just, yeah, I'll just do it the hard way. I thought I had an example here I could copy pasta, but it's fine. So KUI, oops, KUI base control, base equals KUI base control, or KUI system get base. So that's going to be typed context editor, KUI state. And then the control itself is going to be typed context image box. Okay, so there we get the base control, and then we can do the KUI image box control. And that is just going to be a cold cast, so we'll do typed control equals base. And we'll just do a cold cast there, box control. And from there, we can actually I might be able to just do this with the tag. I might not actually have to do this stuff. Let's see. KUI image box control, texture set. Ooh, we have texture set by name. Oh, we do have texture set here. Great. Okay, perfect. So we do need typed context editor. KUI state. The control is the typed context image box, and the texture is actually just texture. So actually, I don't need these things. We can actually just do that for now. We are actually, I don't think I need those. Okay. We are going to put a to-do here that says update the train material listing. But we'll leave that as a to-do for now. When we cancel, we're just going to have no change being made whatsoever, right? Okay, so let me see if I actually got all this hooked up where I can test it. I think we might actually be able to test this. Oh, we don't have... Let's build it and see. First time chatter Shrug B. How's it going? Welcome. Said in Cake's chat that he should raid you and then forgot to say it again and it was too late at that point. It's okay. I mean, a Cake's raid would have been epic. Because he's really been popping off lately. Which is super awesome for him. I'm so happy for him and his success for sure. He's been doing like 10 or 11 hour streams too. It's nuts. Let's see, 3142 typed context. Wait, 34. I think that was. What line was that again? Dyslexia hit me hard there. 3412. 3412. Oh, here, typed context. Right. I'm just going to comment that out for now. He's locking in and grinding, as the kids say. Yeah, I mean, that is what you do right after release, for sure. Just to, at least until you've got, like, the major bugs worked out. And then he should step away for, like, a week. Hi, just learning about the Kohi Cool project. Well, welcome, first-time chatter. Glad to have you here. Hope you're doing well. Did I build this? I think I did. One C developer said C++ is like an alien language for him. It's interesting. That's what I'm going to say. I did C++ before I moved to C. And that's pretty much where I'm going to leave it, is C++ is interesting. Not my cup of tea. Use it when I have to, but nothing more. All right, so let us open the terrain editor. Oh, I forgot to fix that clipping issue. All right. So in theory, when I click this guy, we segfault is what happens there. Let's see. Open for... Oh, I bet I know. I think I know exactly what the issue is. I'll bet the state is null. Yep. Okay. That's because I'm a dingus. So, image box clicked. So we're doing this get user data out of the control, right? But I'll bet we didn't assign that. Set user data. Oh, we're setting... Oh, wait a minute. We have different... Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Oh, that's the wrong one. I should say material image box clicked. There we go. I'm betting we just didn't set the user data. Nope, we didn't. Okay. Slight issue, but not a huge problem. So we'll do KUI control set user data, and we're just going to take the state as is, and we're going to do states HFT general material albedo image boxes sub I. Data size is going to be size of editor states. Thank you guys for the follows. I appreciate that. A C programmer using VS. Yeah, I only use it as my debugger. I don't write code in it. Yeah. And I only use it because there's not really a better cross-platform debugger at the moment that works on Windows, Linux, and Mac. So it just makes it a little bit easier for me to work with. It's not great, but it's better than a lot of the alternatives out there. Let's see. So we want state there. Free and destroy is false, and then memory tag doesn't really matter, but we'll use editor. Okay, so we need to do the same thing for this. Oh, and I actually see another copy pasta. This needs to be normal image boxes. And this needs to be MRA image boxes. Right. Take my words back. I opened the stream and there it was. Yeah. Yeah, no. I hate even having to use it as my debugger, but you know, I don't exactly have time to just like spin off and write one either. When Rad Debugger comes out for Linux, I'll be giving that a try. But it still won't help me on Mac OS, so I'm still kind of stuck there. But, you know, it is what it is. Let's see, so we want this, and then when I click one of these guys, man, my cat's having an allergy attack like nobody's business back there. Poor kitty. Have you tried Zed? No, I've not. Okay, so we opened it in the correct mode. Oh, you know what? All right, well, this is a good start, but I don't actually have any way to actually confirm the selection. I just realized. So I need to put that in. But we are in the right mode, right? Because it's select a texture instead of browse. So if I close this and then reopen it this way, it's just browse textures, right? So we know at least we're in the correct mode. But I didn't actually put an OK button in there because I'm a dingus. So let's do that. So I guess probably, let me think, that's going to have to go. I guess kind of towards the top level. So we have the search label, search text box, scrollable content control. It's going to have to go... I don't know if I want to put it all the way to the right or just kind of aligned to like the inspector, which is kind of what I'm thinking. And that'll be the right call X. I guess let's do that. Do I actually have... Can I just copy pasta a button, I think, instead of retyping it? I really need to get the configuration for this up and running because it's kind of annoying to have to type all of this UI code when I could just have it configurable like most of the rest of the system. So let's grab this. And go all the way to the bottom. Beyond this one, texture browser. Here we go. Okay. So I want to put this below the scrollable content control. Preview image box. Yeah, I guess we could do it this right here. So I am going to need a new control for this. So let's do a KUI control. And we'll do text browser confirm. And a cancel button. And then the confirm button will just do different things depending on what mode we're actually in. And the cancel button, I guess the cancel button will just not, maybe we'll just not even show it depending on what mode we're in. So let me just pop these right here for a second. So this is going to be confirm button. So we want to do text browser confirm button. Do that there. And here and here. And then let's see. I'll update the position in just a second. Let's do select, I guess. We probably are going to change the text on that depending on the mode too. Maybe we'll just do okay. Okay, so instead of main BG panel, this needs to be text browser BG panel. The width, I guess we can keep the same. I think that's fine. Let's see. So the position, the X position is going to wind up being states text browser right call X +5. And then the Y position is going to wind up being, let's see. So the scrollable, the texture browser scrollable control. Well, actually, I guess this should be based off the window size, right? So this is actually going to wind up being something like this. So instead of just a hard-coded 50, we're just going to put in, whoops, okay, states text browser window size Y. And let's do like minus like 60. Okay. And then a width of 240, I guess is fine. So that's the confirm button. And then we also want to do the cancel button. Right, so this is going to be text browser cancel button. Right, and this is going to be cancel, if I can spell it correctly. Swear there was something else in here I had to change. Oh yeah, we need to move this over. So we'll do +5 plus 240 plus. Oh, you know what? That's not all gonna fit, is it? Because I think our inspector is only like 400 pixels wide, so these need to be 200 pixels, or actually 190. That'll give us a little wiggle room. So 190, and then this one will wind up being 190. Okay. Did we get all the things except for the handlers? Okay, so what we want to do for this is we want to have more button click handlers. Let's see. So we're going to do, oops, texture browser confirm button clicked and cancel button clicked. Right, we're going to take these, implement them real fast. So let's just go here. How come there's a GitLab? Wait, how come there is GitHub link in? Wait, I'm not sure what you're asking. How come there is a GitHub link in bio or no GitHub link in the bio? Is there not? If you want to know more about the project in general, let's see, is the stupid bot. Okay. I really need to get a different bot because this one's just not reliable. If you go here, that's the main website for the project. And from that, you can access the forums, which have a bunch of information, and the GitHub repo. So the GitHub repo, you can either click here where it says open source. If you go down a little bit further, there's a contribute on GitHub link. If you click that, it'll take you here to the actual repo where you can look at the code. So we're not working against the main branch, we're working against the 0.12 release branch. So that's where that is. If it's not in the, I don't know that I included it in the bio on Twitch, just because I would rather have folks start here because this kind of includes all the other things, all the other links, right? Okay. Why'd you choose C instead of C++? Couple of reasons. Language simplicity, and that directly lends itself to compilation speed. I don't do like a lot of OOP in this at all. It tends to get in the way more than anything else. So I don't need that. I don't need 90% of the features or 99% of the features that C++ gives me. Even when I was writing C++, I wrote what I called C++ Lite, which is very close to C. It's like C like C++. And so when I started this project, I'm like, why am I doing it this way? Maybe I should just write it in C. And that was it, basically. Axorus, good to see you. How are you? I'm doing well. How about you? Thank you for asking. Let's see. Someone is asking, and I don't know how to pronounce that. It's 4IY Leet, I assume. But is the engine ECS? No, it is not. We have what I call a flat entity structure, or it's loosely kind of flat, right? So there's essentially what we call a base entity, and then this is that's one of the places in the system where we do use something kind of like inheritance, although it's not really inheritance, where we have additional entities, specific entity type data stored on top of that. But everything is just entities. There are no components. There's no behaviors, none of that crap. Don't need it. Work at Oracle? Not anymore. Nope, I left. Didn't like it. No hard feelings towards them, but just wasn't for me. Did I forget to update that? I might have. It's hard to remember where everything to update, like when you change positions like that. So I might not have actually updated. Oh, yeah, my GitHub does say that, doesn't it? Okay. Yeah, that's not been true for like 6 months. But yeah, I was a software engineer there. Do I have a day job? Yes, I do. Yeah. Are you also streaming on YouTube? Yep. I simulcast to both. Yeah. Cool, it's just rye. Okay, fair enough. All good, just working on my own engine. Awesome. Can't beat that. Hopefully we'll have more awesome engines out there in the public. I figure if this even motivates one person to go out there and make awesome things, then I've already sort of won, I guess, right? Makes it all worth it. Okay, so when we do confirm button clicked, that is kind of where the other kind of to-dos that we had in place need to happen. Did we put that? Where did we put that? I thought we did. Didn't we do? Oh, I bet it was up here, wasn't it? Okay. So this, let me think about this. Okay. So essentially when we click the confirm button, we need to first check to say, is the, we need to get the edit state actually. So we need to say, is the mode selection or is it not? Because that makes a big difference. So if flag get, and we'll do states, oh, that's not that state, it's edit state that I need. Edit state. Text browser flags. So if the texture browser flag selecting is open, then we can issue the callback along with the selected texture. Now there's a couple of other things we're probably going to want to do there aside from that, but if it's not set, then just close the window. So I think actually we're going to do it this way. So we're going to say here, text browser close, edit state, and then return false because we don't, false. We don't want that to propagate otherwise. All right, so there's a couple things that we need to do here. So first off, we're going to say if edit state selected texture is equal to invalid k-texture, then for now we're going to do an error, and we're going to say no texture is selected, cannot proceed. And we're just going to boot. Return false. Right? So we're not going to allow the window to be closed or anything like that. We're just going to sort of put an error message out there. Now, what we're going to eventually want is either some sort of error dialog or to disable the select button until a selection is made. And I'm thinking that second one is probably what we're going to want. But while we're just kind of scaffolding this, that's the way I'm going to do it. So we're going to do that check first. And then we'll issue the callback accordingly. So what we'll do is we'll do edit states, selected callback. And that is going to be past the edit state selected texture and edit state text browser context. I feel like that wasn't all of it though. Maybe it was though. Just the texture and the context. Okay, perfect. All right, so simple enough. We should probably also just do a sanity check here. So if we have selected callback, right? Check to make sure it exists before we just call it, right? And then yeah, okay. That makes sense. When we do the texture browser close, we should probably also, I'm thinking about this now, state texture browser context equals knull. States selected callback equals knull, and states cancel callback equals knull. Right? We should probably get rid of those function pointers as soon as we cancel out. All right. So the next thing that we'll have to do is for the cancel. I don't think it actually matters if we have a selection or not because we're not going to be doing anything. Whoops. Ugh, I hate when it does that. So I think all we actually need to do here is just close the window for now, right? If we're canceling, we just close the window. And then also, I guess, yeah, if we have the cancel callback, we need to make it, right? So cancel callback, and then that just takes only the context. So both of those things will effectively close the window. I think that's all we need to do. Did we actually, I don't think we've actually hooked it up though. So set on click. No, we haven't hooked it up. Okay. So text browser confirm button clicked and text browser cancel button clicked. Okay. I believe I've got like the positionings and all that stuff created correctly. Yeah, all right. Let's build it and find out. See if we have hooked everything up correctly. I do see your questions. I will get to them in just a second. Okay, so let's go to terrain edit mode. We'll select this guy. and we wanted a different material. Technically, it needs, we're not checking like material texture size yet, so I'm just going to select I need to actually get some more materials in here, or some more textures in here. I guess I'll just select this one for now. That should be fine. Okay, so we have cancel and okay. Those look, yeah, I guess they do need to be positioned at 50. They're a little bit high, but that's okay. So let's go ahead and click OK. And segfault, sweet. Oh, and I think I know why. I think it's the same issue. Yeah. We didn't set the user state again. I probably ought to come up with a little bit of an easier way to do that versus having to constantly kind of do this same sort of thing again. But for now, I'll go ahead and just plug it in. KUI control set user data. Kohi states, let's see, states, text browser, confirm button, size of, editor states, free on destroy false, because it doesn't own it, memory tag editor. And we'll copy pasta that down here and just change text browser cancel button. Okay, so terrain, click one of these guys, choose a texture, choose this guy again, click OK. And it did not update that, interestingly. Did we get any sort of... So I may have to do... Oh, I think I actually know why. I'm willing to bet that when we do the open internal, or the open for select, yeah, we're not setting these callbacks anywhere, so of course it's not going to show, nor the context, so that's cool. All right, so I'm going to do that before the open internal, I think. Yeah, let's do that before the open internal. So we want states, and then we need text browser context equals context, states, selected callback equals selected callback, state canceled callback. Why did that not do that? State canceled callback equals canceled callback. One more time, and then if I don't get it this time, I'll answer the questions in chat before we move on. Okay. Segfault. I'm going to guess. We do have that. Did we not set the editor in the context? I thought we did. Typed context. HFT text browser context. Oh, God. Let's see. Editor. Context. Image box. Equals self. Doing this the dingus oriented programming tonight for sure. What is this? Oh. Okay. So I did say I was going to answer some chat. I feel like, especially on YouTube, I see more game engines being made than games. Yeah, that's probably true. Well, yeah, that might be true. But we are actually building a game. So we've actually already even started on that. Like, we've got a bunch of game systems kind of scaffolded. It's just, since we have our own engine, we're kind of going back and forth between engine dev and game dev, adding features only as we need them at this point. So in the beginning, we're going to be hitting the engine a lot more commonly than later on. Right now, we're building an editor suite of tools. So that's obviously more engine driven than anything. But, as time goes on, that's going to be less and less so. Just started following the tutorial series a couple days ago, just getting into the render. I see that you wrapped up the series at 263. Oh, I haven't actually. I should talk about that in a second. Have additional episodes after. Would you consider these bonus episodes, or would you strongly recommend watching them? Also, wondering if the game dev from Scratch series overlaps with the game engine series. So yes to all of that. Essentially, what happens is when I have the live streams, they don't automatically go into the playlist on YouTube. And so as a result, I have to remember to actually go in there and add them every once in a while. And I just haven't done that in a while. So I need to add all the rest of them for the Kohi game engine series. And I've actually kind of stopped that series and continued it on through the Illumina series. We bounced back and forth a couple of times, and I just kind of made the decision that was kind of dumb, and I didn't want to do that anymore. And so at some point we stopped bouncing back and forth between the two, and we just landed on Illumina. So everything new is going to be in the Shadows of Illumina series. So this is a continuation from where Kohi left off. And we do engine stuff here too, but sometimes we have an episode where we do both. And so it doesn't really make any sense anymore to have the game engine series playlist. So I do need to go and update that. That is out of date, but we're not going to be streaming to that playlist anymore. It's all going to be Illumina going forward. And then, obviously the next game whenever we get there. I hope that makes sense. Did I build? Yeah, okay. So we'll go here, try this one more time, choose one, okay. Why? What did I, okay. That's not a good sign. So did we not bind? Oh, I bet I know what happened. Well, I wonder if it's because the texture isn't loaded yet, although it should be. Why would the binding image info not be populated? So here's the texture. The Atlas override for this is, there's no way that's a valid ID. Okay, I'm gonna have to relaunch this and debug, I think, because there's some weird things going on there. All right, so let's do that. Let's select one of these guys. And then before I do anything else, I'll come back into the editor and set some breakpoints. specifically this guy. Okay, so click OK. That should trigger there. Wait a minute. Select a texture, then the context. That seems backwards. Texture, then context. Okay. Yeah, it is texture, then context. Okay. But this one is state self texture. No, that should be fine. Why is the texture... Why is that texture ID so high? Oh, wait a minute. Didn't I say... Wait, it's selected texture first, right? Yeah. So... This is only actually used in a couple different places. Oh. First element data. Okay. That's what's wrong. And I guess it's only because we never actually used texture, selected texture for anything else. Okay, that's cool. 3729. So, this is a K texture. This is a K name. They are both integers under the hood. So the compiler wouldn't have caught it, which means I really need to more strongly type that, I think. That should be texture. Oh, see. And this is also invalid K name. This should be invalid K texture. So selected texture. Okay. Let's kill this. Why not debug from NeoVim? I tried it actually at one point, and it just didn't work all that well, especially in multi-threaded environments. Frankly, it just didn't work well. Not to mention that it was kind of a pain in the ass to set up. So it was a lot more headaches than it was worth. So yeah, unfortunately, that's just kind of the way it is. You dingus. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. Try and catch or time saving instead of debugging, except I don't have those. That's a C++ feature. And exceptions are inherently slower than, a quick if check, and, especially if it's like an integer. Exception handling slows all kinds of stuff down and adds all sorts of overhead to your code base, as well as performance overhead. There's performance overhead with using exceptions. Okay, so let's try this. Okay, so that's interesting. So we did assign a texture, but it assigned the wrong texture. Does it matter which one we select? No, it's always going to take the first one, isn't it? So why is it always taking the first one? Are we not? First element, oh, wait a minute. First element data. So that's what we use for our default selection. Selection frame. Oh, we're never updating that when we select, are we? This is only on the refresh that we're doing this. Okay. So whenever when we do the image box on-clicked, that also needs to set the selected texture. That's the problem. So let's see, we have the selection frame updates. We should probably do the selected texture next. Let's see, element data. So let's do states, or I guess it's going to be, do we actually have the, do we not have the editor state? I thought we would have. Oh wait, that's going to be the element data. Okay. There we go. Editor, selected texture equals element data texture. Because I forgot to turn this off. Okay, so we should have this select. Okay, there we go. Okay, so that works. So now I can come in here and it should work for any one of these. I'm just going to select some stuff at random here. I should be able to, kind of scroll down and go to one of these if I wanted to and select something. Yeah, it looks like it's putting the right images in there. So that's all good. Let me just make sure this third column works. Yep, cool. All right, so that's half the battle. Knowing is the other half. What we need to do now, I need to fix this clipping issue, but the next step of this is, now that we have the material data at this level, when we update the texture for this, we also need to set it in the HF terrain material data, which is a little bit more complicated than it seems on the surface. Because, and incidentally, what these are used for, if you haven't seen it, is if we go into paint mode, we can then do some painting, right, by the material index that's there, right? So we can just switch material index and maybe the strength of this to something different, and paint, right? Maybe doing that in the shadows is not the best example, right? So if we wanted like maybe a little bit more of a green texture, let me bump this up a little bit. I don't know, 10. So if we wanted a little bit greener of a texture, we can have that there. Or if we wanted like a more dirt texture, but maybe like 2 units wide or something, we can come in here and just kind of paint that like that if we wanted to. And so all of these materials in here are what defines what those different material IDs are. And then each of the individual chunks can select from this material list to choose what 5 materials they want to use within that particular chunk. So the chunks are, units of this terrain that that can each have a unique set of 5 from this list. And so that allows us to have multiple different types of terrain kind of come together with like transition blocks in between them, so that if you wanted to switch from this to say like a series of snowy textures, you could do that with relative ease. And so that's what these are for. We probably ought to have way more than 15 materials available, but that's just kind of what I've set for now. 16 materials rather. But yeah, that's kind of the next step there. So, let's see. I think, yeah, and when I click OK, launching it this way, it's fine. Cancel should also do the same thing. So I guess a good point is to maybe open up one of these. Oh, that's another thing I need to do. I need to make it auto-select the current texture. But let's say we open that up and we didn't want to change it. We should be able to hit cancel, and it doesn't do any change. So that all works. We're in pretty good shape. Let's see. We catch up. Penguin Operator, how's it going? Weird to see you over there on the YouTube side. I think, see you over on the Twitch side, but how have you been? Adam Rushford, good to see you as well. Why is that game engine book like my grandma's couch? What? Huh? Get to work, you're wasting time. Yeah, I know, right? Actually, we actually got our texture selection working tonight, so I can actually click into one of these guys and select the texture and click OK, and it shows up here, which is pretty cool. There's some minor UI bugs and stuff that we have to fix, but this was kind of a big step in that direction. Let's see. Always wondered why there were never any tutorials doing game engine to game. Always wondered how it was done in the good old days. Came to realize doing something like that by yourself takes a good couple years just to get the engine off the ground. Yes, and that's exactly what I'm doing here. Because I can switch out of the editor, and I do have something here that's playable is probably generous, right? But I can run around and jump and like swing a weapon and stuff like that. I've got lots of issues to work out around collision and things like that, because we've done all that stuff from scratch. But yeah, we've built the engine, and now we're actually starting to build out the game. I did kind of make a detour to make some editor stuff so that I can actually make some content. I do actually want to kind of break away from that sometime soon. I'm not going to finish the editor now. I do want to come back to it later and work on it a little bit more, but I actually want to kind of get back to working in some game systems very shortly. So, yeah. But yes, we are. That's basically what this whole channel is about. We've built the game engine mostly, and we're building a game on top of that. So. And as far as the good couple of years, this has taken me 5 calendar years to get to this point, but that's at less than part-time hours per week that I can work on it. So it's like 10 to 15 hours max a week that I get to work on this. So if you extrapolate that out, if you're talking full-time hours, you're talking about just about a year, a little over a year maybe of development time, but just barely. So it's not that crazy. Like if I was working on this full time, I would obviously be much further along in 5 calendar years, but it is what it is. Okay. I think starting on that next feature is probably going to be a bit much for how much time we have left. So I think I might actually end a little bit early tonight, just a few minutes early. But if you guys wanted to do a quick Q&A, I'd be open to that. How'd the operation go? I haven't had it yet. Thank you for asking. I haven't had it yet. It's the end of next month, actually. Thankfully today, the medication I'm taking for it seems to have actually helped a little bit. So I didn't have as much pain this week as I did last week. Although now it's actually starting to kind of hit me at the end of the night. But the operation isn't until like the end of next month. So at which point I'm probably going to miss a week of streaming, I'm thinking. But we'll see. I'll see if I can come up with something that doesn't require typing or much mouse use, which is going to be weird for streaming, but we'll see. Let's see. Okay. Question. Spiro. Oh boy, here we go. All right. Here's a Giga Chad. Who's a Giga Chad dingus-oriented programmer? Wait, you said DOP programmer. Okay, I'm going to read the question like you wrote it. Who's a Giga Chad dingus-oriented programmer? And why is it obviously you? Also, the game progress is awesome. I can smell release. Oh, no. Release is a long way off, but yeah, thank you for that. No, I am the king of the dingus army, right? Of the dingus-oriented programmers. The King Dingus, or the Kingus, if you will. But how have you been? Hope all is well. Kingus, I like it. Yeah. I mean, it fits, I guess, right? I really need to fix that shadow map jitter. It's kind of bad at crazy angles. Although you're not really ever going to look at it from this far away, so maybe it's fine. I think I just need to adjust that a little bit. But once you get here, which is probably where you're going to look at it from, it's fine. Actually, I think it might be. I mean, there's a little bit, but yeah. Okay. Yeah, see the jitter and stuff? Like, I've got to figure out some stuff with the collision detection, because there's definitely some weirdness, for sure. Eyeless42, how's it going? Thank you so much for the tier 1 sub. I appreciate that. 13 months support. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. How have you been? Hope all is well. Okay, so yeah, this is kind of where we're at for now, at least as far as gameplay code. I'm really wanting to work on this more, so at some point in the future we may switch from doing editor stuff to doing this kind of thing. We'll see. It's coming along super nicely. Yeah, it is. I'm finally getting some like visual progress, which is always nice. Because I went for quite a while there and didn't have any, which is a little rough to get through sometimes. But yeah, it's coming along nice. I'm happy with it. Things are finally starting to shape up, and I'm actually going to have a usable tool set here before too much longer. So. Any thoughts on how you will approach collision detection? Yeah, I've been kind of experimenting with it to try and find like the way that I want to do it. So the method that I'm doing right now is it's a handwritten, what you call a collide and slide. And so that's basically where you've got velocity and you are represented by a capsule in 3D space, right? So you've got essentially two radiuses and a cylinder in between. And then that's what's used for collision detection. And I do triangle collision detection against everything in the scene. At least right now, I've got that trimmed down to the terrain and this sort of test shape thing here. But eventually it'll be everything in the scene. And so essentially what it does is it says, am I colliding with this triangle? If I am, then essentially find out how far I would be going into that triangle, and back out of it and take that vector and reproject it along the plane of that triangle. And that's essentially what makes you slide at an angle along the surface. And so I'm experimenting with that now, just to see kind of how that's going to work in terms of how open I want to be with exploration. I don't know that I'm going to stick with that, to be completely honest. I may wind up going to a more traditional, and this is what I was originally thinking, almost like the way that walking simulators work. So you've got some flat geometry or semi-flat geometry that you stick to all the time, and there's no real jumping or anything. And you can have several different platforms with sort of transitions in between those, where you play an animation, or you have a ladder or something that you climb and you kind of bounce in between them. And then you just slide around on those, and that's a lot simpler to implement. And I might wind up going that way. It would also be a lot easier for me to set up navigation that way. Not only of the player, but NPCs and enemies. So I may go that way. And then I may also go with a grid-based approach in terms of movement. So right now, essentially this works with WASD, where I can rotate around and move around. Whereas if I were to go with a grid-based approach, it would be a little bit more like Path of Exile or those types of games, where you click and it basically says what's the nearest grid vertex, which would essentially be this grid that you can see here in debug mode. And then it would just essentially move you to that at the elevation of the particular thing that you're on top of. So there's a few different ways to do it. And those last two are a lot more appealing to me. I think having the super open movement like this is cool, but there is a heavy cost associated with that. There's a few heavy costs associated with that. Because you have to then design the world to be navigated that way, which means you have to make sure that the player can't escape those bounds at any point, which becomes a lot bigger of a challenge. And then, obviously it means that your assets have to be generated in a much different way. Whereas if we have these sort of pre-prescribed movement planes that you can move around on, that's much less so. So, yeah, it's a good question. And I haven't really decided what way I want to go, which is why I haven't really talked about it on the stream, right? This is just kind of some experimentation that I'm doing now. And it works, but not well, right? It's very bouncy and jittery. And so I've got to figure that out. I can't pass through walls, right? Which is great. So from that standpoint, it works. But like on planes with gravity applied, it does that. So it's not great. All right. Cool. Well, I think, like I said, though, I think I'm going to go ahead and call it, because my hand is actually acting up again. And, it's decent timing because it's only a few minutes early at this point anyway. So I'm going to find somebody to raid. And we will be back tomorrow. Let me see who is online. Trying to see if we have something that's kind of related to what we're doing here. If not, I've got some other ideas, but... It's a floating point bug. You're casting in integers or something, or the movement retrigger. No, it's not that. It's actually the way that the gravity is being applied right now is it's being applied in the same pass as regular movement, and I need to split the passes up. Because even when you are grounded, like what you see here, it's still trying to apply gravity. And so that's why, like, if I go onto a slope that even has a little bit of grade, it does that, right? And it's only supposed to do that if it's like 45 degrees or more, but you could see that like it's just not doing the thing. So yeah, it's a couple of things. I need to not apply gravity if I'm grounded, and I need to define what grounded is and actually have that as a separate mode. Because then if I'm grounded, then all I need to do is get the height of the triangle or whatever it is where I'm currently at and just use that. But, then if I walk off a ledge like this, I need to say I'm not grounded if I'm sliding down a ledge or something. See, I clipped through that box right there. So, yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's just a lot of different... Replace the snap of the tweet. Yeah, exactly. So just a lot of different things to try out. But, like I said, I'm not convinced I'm going to stick with this as a movement scheme anyways, because just thinking about how I have to design levels this way is going to be daunting. So yeah, I may wind up doing something a lot more restrictive, because I am the only one working on it, after all. Let me see. Still trying to find somebody to raid. Kind of looking to see if I can find something different than what we normally raid, but I don't know. It may not be much of anything in the same category, to be honest. Most of what's out there is like web dev stuff or Unity. Is the player just snapped to the ground? No physics? No, there's not going to be a physics system at all. That's just way too much for what I have planned for this game. We just don't need it. So it's basically just a collide and slide at best. It's not going to be anything fancier than that. We don't need it. All right. I guess. I wish I knew what some of these chaps are doing. Because it's kind of hard to tell in just the little preview thing that they give you. All right, I think I see who we're going to raid. Just doing one last scroll through just to make sure. Actually, what's this person doing? Oh, that's Unity. Nope. Not any coding per se. Let's see. All right, we're going to raid Z.A. Shaw because he is doing C++ game dev. So we will see what he's up to. And let me see. Unity is such a scam to me. That's why I made my engine. Yeah, they've done some terrible things, for sure. That's why I don't suggest using it anymore to folks new to game development. For sure. All right. So yeah, anyways, thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate you. And I will forward you guys over to Z.A. Shaw. I don't know if he does YouTube as well. I'll have to see. But I'll drop the Twitch link over for you guys if you're interested in that. All right. Thanks for being here. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.